Okay, good day. What's up, everybody? My name is Steven, and um, yeah. Now that I'm recording on YouTube, I figured I would just kind of give a quick overview of me and what I'm doing here and all that good stuff. So, um, been trying to figure out what to say and like writing it out and scripting it and all this stuff. And I don't like scripting. I kind of just like talking. So I figured it's best to just try. The best place to start is anywhere. Just start, right? So I I talk about things pertaining to mental health, addiction, trauma, um, behaviors, a little bit of everything. And so it's something I talk about from experience. From a very young age, I struggled with mental health, feelings of not wanting to live anymore and hating myself, just feeling broken and alone and just withdrawn, always having to put on a mask and be fake, depression, anxiety, PTSD eventually, and just not knowing how to deal with it. And I think when we go through these traumatic things, especially as children, we come up with some pretty messed up ways of dealing with them and learning how to see ourselves and the world. And so, yeah, I was in a pretty dark place all throughout my younger years. Like I said, it started at about 9, 10. I did have an attempt to not be alive anymore around 12 years old. Was obviously unsuccessful, but just it's kind of a picture into the state of mind that I was in at the time, right? And so eventually I kind of cajoled and fought and yelled and pressured my mom into letting me move out and move in with my dad. For a little context, I did grow up in not a single parent home, but my mom and my dad weren't together. My mom was hyper religious, very strict, and my dad was always less so. There's a lot of extra stuff that was going on there that I'm not going to get into right now. I just want to overview and keep this going. But anyway, so I moved down to North Carolina, started smoking weed a lot and skipping school and, just kind of progressively getting into more and more shit, just trying to run from myself, trying to escape what was going on in my head. And yeah, it just kept progressing and progressing. It led to jail, it led to rehab, it led to all kinds of wreckage and misery. I had my daughter in 2010, and soon after went to prison for a couple years. Came home and tried to put my life back together, and within a couple years, I was physically addicted to heroin and just totally giving everything I had to that. And so I want to pause here, and all throughout this time, I am constantly reaffirming these ideas that I had in my head, right? That I had gained at a young age, like something's wrong with you. You are broken. You are bad. You are less than. You're different than everybody else. You're ugly. You don't fit in. You're a bother to people. All these really messed up, twisted things, right? And it is what it is. That's how it was. Uh, and I just kind of got off on, being the victim. I was the victim, poor me. I was so broken and so messed up, and always getting into trouble, and so eventually drugs became the answer, and heroin was the ultimate answer to me, right? Because it was just put me on cloud nine, and it puts you up there so long that you don't really realize just how bad things are getting until it's too late, and you're physically hooked. And then your life becomes just an endless search for more and more, and you're not getting high, you're just becoming normal. But that's a different story, But anyway, so I'm constantly reaffirming this, that I'm broken, that I can't be fixed, that I'm not worth fixing, that nobody wants me around, that I'm fucked up. And every time I would do something and people would react in this way, it was just a reaffirmation. Oh, I must be right. I must not be fixable. And so this went on for years. Years of just dealing with things in such a twisted, fucked up way. Years of seeing the world in such a messed up way. And, not realizing just the power that a human being holds in their power of language, their power of learning, their power of using knowledge and experience, their power of perception and belief. And so I didn't really understand that this whole time I'm digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm wanting success, or thinking that I want success in my head, but yet I'm doing things that are opposite of that. I'm programming my brain to not be successful, for self-destruction instead of success. And so, for 2 years now, not quite 2 years, I don't want to misrepresent, a little over a year and a half, we'll say that. Since my last time in rehab, I have totally taken on a new energy and identity, a new perception of things. And I was able to do this in a very short time. And so I really felt a drive and a hunger to break this down and figure out what was going on. To really get to understand and know the human brain and how it functions in mental health and addiction, how it functions chemically, how it's affected by our words and our actions and all these different things. And I was just kind of on fire to learn this stuff. I was just constantly looking up words and finding definitions and the etymology or roots of words, where they came from. And so have just started to develop and experience a different way of living. And now I feel called to present that in such a way that other people can relate to it and hopefully use it to empower themselves. And that is truly what I want and believe. I don't want people to follow me. I want people to relate to me and understand me, and then empower themselves to lead, to be the directors, to step into their roles as creators and artists of their own life. And so that's what this is all about, how to create and direct your life into what you've always wanted it to be. And, I do that through just rawly and authentically kind of sharing my own views and experience. And so, I'm nothing special. I just have really kind of dedicated myself to this for the past year and a half. I've been able to kind of do it without too many distractions and, just kind of pour everything into it. So that's what I'm here to share. Now, I would, off the top, kind of recommend a few things to people. This great documentary that I saw a few days ago called The Divided Brain. I think it's Dr. Ian or Liam McGilchrist, but I'm not positive on that. If you look it up, it's free on YouTube with ads. It's called The Divided Brain, I believe. It's a great documentary. It talks about how kind of the world and society is geared towards operating out of the left hemisphere of the brain, which is the logical, kind of straightforward part of the brain. And it's excluding or atrophying the right side of the brain, which is creative and flowing and expansive. It's a different topic for a different day, but great documentary. I really highly recommend it. I also recommend Etym Online, ETYM online.com. It's an etymology website that breaks down the origins and meanings of words, and it really can help you get a good view on what the meaning of these everyday words that we use are, because words have power. Each word holds its own specific vibration, and it has its own specific effect on things. And I mean, you could test this very easily. Next time you go out, walk up to a random stranger and just point to him and say, "Hey, fuck you." See how they react. That word has its own power and intonation. It creates a reaction in you and anybody else when they hear it. It's different for everyone, but it still creates a measurable reaction. Now, if you do the same thing on the opposite spectrum, and you just go up to someone random on the street and just have a conversation, show them interest and that you care about them, and notice the difference. Gauge the interaction. You can perform these experiments on everything I'm saying and test it in the real world, and you can measure its effect. Okay? And so that's what I'm about. Usable skills, measurable skills. And so our language, that's the skill that we all have, to express ourselves through language. And how you choose to do that is on you. In today's day and age, when we have access to the internet and all of these things, you have the chance to cultivate yourself into something other than. Words hold energy. The way that we think about ourselves holds its own energy. The way that we speak to ourselves and dialogue with ourselves holds its own energy. Now, scientifically, you can also look this up. A few more websites I recommend is, I believe it's Cambridge Library or Library of Cambridge, CornellLaw.com is a good one for any law buffs or people that like, searching into things like that. The wording of law is incredibly fascinating to me, legalese and what's spoken in the courts. But that's a sidebar, sorry. Our perceptions, our beliefs, our feelings, all of those things are tools that we have to operate in the world effectively. Also, our imagination. Why would we be given the tool of imagination? What's it evolved from? We have the tool that creates anything within the mind. We can create any construct, any physical object in the mind, and then we can most likely even replicate that in the physical world. That is an incredible tool. I can think of a memory or a scene in my head and generate emotions. And so on that note, we all equate the heart with feelings, correct? Now, scientifically, the heart generates its own electromagnetic field around the body. The heart is a pump, a vortex, if you will, and it's creating its own electromagnetic field. So, through our feelings and our thoughts and our actions, we have the ability to elevate or decrease the heart rate. Now, let's stop and do an exercise real quick, and then I will wrap up this video because I don't want it to be too long. But we're going to do a breathing exercise. It's called the double inhale breath, and then we're going to exhale on a 10 count out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We're going to do this 3 times. And another study, look up the double inhale. Look up NO2, nitric oxide, and its effect on the blood in the body. After 3 minutes, so we're going to do 3 of these breaths, And then at the 3-minute mark, or right around there, you should feel an actual physiological change in the body. Maybe a flush, a heat flush, maybe a cold flush, maybe a tingling sensation. It may just be a clearing of the brain. It can manifest in a lot of different ways, but physiological change happens after 3 minutes when you do this breath. So, double inhale. We're going to inhale through the nose for about 4 seconds, and then pause for 1 or 2 seconds. Then we're going to further inhale another 4 seconds. Then we pause 1 or 2 seconds and exhale on a 10 count. Okay? So, inhale. Pause. Inhale. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you're going to push the breath out until you feel it engaging in your stomach. Feel a little tightness in 2 sides, 2 points on your stomach and your abdomen. And that's called the diaphragm smile. It's a tension and relaxing of the diaphragm muscles. And so now the second breath. Pause. Pause and exhale. I had to stretch a little bit to get to the 10 there, and that's okay. It's okay. We're just we're playing here. This is an exercise. And so last breath, final breath, nice and slow, nice and calm, nice and easy. We're playing, we're flowing. Let's go. And go back to breathing normal. And so that's a quick breath. It took maybe a minute, and I extended it by quite a bit by my talking. And it creates a calmness. It creates an ease. It flushes the body. Balances cortisol levels to a certain extent. And so this is one of the tricks that we're going to be talking about and learning here. We're going to be learning how to take control, to accept and direct. And the great thing about it is there's so much to this. There's so many different things you can try. And, you know, for some of you, some of these things might be like, no, that's not for me. Or, that's just dumb. I don't want to try that. That's okay. I don't mind, you know, looking dumb on here, sharing tools, because I love it. That's what it's all about, is playing and having fun, and sometimes looking dumb. I try not to forget the humor in things. You know, we don't want to keep things too bone dry serious, right? Yeah, that is I think more than enough for today. I hope that you find this instructive, informative, relative. I hope that you see that you hold worth, that you're unique and awesome and great. And I hope that you do some things to brighten your day, to lift yourself up today, to build yourself up today. And I'll be back with more soon. I really I appreciate you watching. Much love. Rise up within yourself. Peace.